And we're live. Welcome, everybody. This is the Guitar Gear Locker with Alex Books and Roger Sutherland. We're back. We've been going for a while. We're gonna catch up on what has been going on since our last broadcast. Of course, Alex, we didn't do like we had intended on doing because of cell issues and Wi-Fi issues and all that, and it's just too hectic when they're on tour. So,
Yeah.
that we couldn't make that happen. I almost tried to make a couple videos of working on guitars, but geez, that it makes everything take 500 times longer. So I couldn't make that happen. That was pretty much lack of talent on my part. But let's start with the tour. So the Cannibal Corpse tour in Europe.
Uh,
How'd it go?
yeah. Oh, it was fantastic. It was I guess it was about 4 weeks, and yeah, throughout most of Europe. I mean, we did Scandinavia, Germany, the UK, Italy, some parts of Eastern Europe. Um, yeah, it was a phenomenal tour. Of course, there was some issues here and there, obviously, and obviously the hurricane hit
Yeah.
Florida, and Eric Rutan from Cannibal Corpse unfortunately had to go home because his house got wrecked.
Right.
But the guys, carried on, and they played as a four piece and still sounded phenomenal with just
Yeah.
Rob on guitar.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was a great package. First time touring with Municipal Waste, and just
Yeah.
awesome dudes, an amazing band. I got to say, one of the best live bands I've seen in a long time. Just
Yeah.
phenomenal live, and awesome dudes. The opening band is a band from Belgium, which are actually four Italian guys
Right.
in Belgium, called Schizophrenia.
Right.
Awesome band, very kind of old school, kind of death thrash kind of vibe, like
Mhm.
kind of Sepultura-ish a little bit.
Right.
Um, the name of the band, Schizophrenia, which is the
Yeah. How
third
appropriate,
Schizophrenia,
right?
third Sepultura record
Yeah,
title.
yeah,
But yeah, great band, great guys. No complaints whatsoever. Just very, it was like one big
yeah,
happy family on tour, which
yeah,
is, sometimes it could be a rare thing when you have,
yeah,
there's always, you know, sometimes there could be friction between crew members and band
yeah.
members, but yeah, it was great.
It looked like you all had a good vibe going on. It looked like everybody, like that wasn't just you. It seemed like everybody had a good vibe
Yeah,
going on.
yeah, absolutely. Like I said, there was no zero issues really.
Yeah,
It was just great, and like I said, all the bands and the crews as well. Just everybody, gets along great, and like very family oriented vibe on the tour.
right, right.
And yeah, and most I'd say most of the shows were sold out.
Hmm.
Maybe 90 something percent of the shows were sold out
Wow,
on the tour.
wow. That's good.
So yeah, yeah, there might have been maybe two shows that weren't sold out, maybe
Right, right.
something like that. So yeah, it was just, great. Maybe we can do it again over here. That
Yeah, yeah.
that
That would be phenomenal to see that over here. Somewhere
yeah,
where like striking distance for all of us.
yeah.
Maybe in the future,
But,
huh?
but yeah, it was very, very successful tour, I would say.
Well, and you got to meet your neighbors from Richmond, Municipal Waste.
Yes, yeah. And
Yep.
I'm gonna
They're a plus.
pay a visit to the guys at some point.
Yeah. That's
So
cool that they're so close, and I told you, of course, you know this because I told you, but, I started listening to them and listening to more of the metal music, because I finally got Spotify, I'm ashamed to say. So I finally got
yeah,
it, and I listen to Municipal Waste at the gym, and, like, that kind of music can amp you up and make you work out harder, and I swear to God, they almost give me a heart attack on a treadmill. So, because you run faster, run harder, pump harder, and all that. Man, they're
yeah.
fast, they're hard. It's good. I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah, yeah, it's very kind of like, I don't know, they kind of remind me of like 1986, 1987 kind of crossover,
Yeah.
you know, punk meets
Yep.
thrash kind of vibe. And
Yeah.
yeah, just amazing band, amazing people. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was really a pleasure to tour with them. And hopefully we do it again. I would tour with those guys in a heartbeat. And the Cannibal Corpse guys are, they're brothers. We've
Right.
been friends with since back in the early days. So
Right. That's just
yeah,
like
it was,
hanging out with family for you.
yeah, absolutely,
Cannibal guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally, yeah. And like I said, not even just the band members, but the crew members as well.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, uh, all the crew people, just the best people. And yeah, like I said, like absolutely zero complaints whatsoever. And
Right.
like you were saying about, we planned on doing trying to do an update while I was on tour, but it was just difficult with some of the connections, and also just the having like really no time, to very
Yeah,
tight schedule.
schedule's gotta be really tight. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people, and you and I have already kinda talked about some of this. Like, what's a day look like while you're on tour out there?
Pretty much you wake up, walk into the venue, eat breakfast, go and eventually do sound check, and then eat dinner, and then get ready to go play, and then
Right. And then it's on to the next place.
go and then go to bed
Yeah, yeah.
for us
Yeah,
old
and
people.
I right. Yeah, I'm sure some of the younger guys were probably partying, maybe some of the older ones too, you never know. But,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's like, we had talked about, doing some things and trying to do that, but man, we both knew it was gonna be a challenge, because we knew you were gonna be hustling while you're over there. It's easy for me because 'cause I'm just kinda here. But for you, you're on the hustle over there and do all the performing and all that, and that's not even bringing in, cell service and Wi-Fi service and all that kind of stuff. You all
yeah.
did have a hell of a bus, though. I gotta tell you, man, I could nothing guitar related or performing related. I could watch that bus get picked up and turned around for hours.
Oh, oh, so you're are you talking about the video of the bus being
Yeah, the
spin
bus,
around?
like, being lifted up, turned around. I could just sit and watch that happen all day.
Yeah, that's a venue I've played there before years ago, maybe twice or something. A
Right.
couple times played the same place, but that venue's in Holland. It's a really nice venue. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool because when you come in on the bus, they have to do that so you can, when you're going back
Yeah.
out,
Yeah, like,
where
there's
it's
no way you're
loaded.
gonna back out of that place.
Yeah. So they have this machine that picks up,
Yeah.
the bus and spins it around. And yeah, pretty cool.
That's
Oh,
pretty
I
freaking
wasn't aware you
incredible.
saw that.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I saw it, and of course, I was thinking like, "Wow, maybe we should have that for fire trucks, maybe things would be
yeah, yeah,
easier." I'm taking the high road on that comment, by the way, that's an inside thing. But,
yeah,
yeah, that was pretty cool when I saw that, I was like, "Man, that's like one of those things, like, they exist, but, you don't realize it." I saw it, I was like, "Yeah, I knew they had those," but God, I watched that video, I was like, "Damn, that is cool and heavy duty," like, that gigantic ass bus. And you all were I've been on your bus in the past when you all were in Richmond, and this was a gigantic bus over there.
yeah. It
So,
was I mean, the buses in Europe are different than the U.S. buses. So because of certain laws in the states where you can't have that many people on, so the buses, the European nightliners are two stories. So
yeah,
your bunks are upstairs,
yeah,
and downstairs is like your lounge and kitchen and all that kind of
right,
stuff. But so you can fit more people on a bus in Europe,
right,
where the
right.
nightliners here are a bit different. So
Yeah, yeah,
from what I understand, I heard that, I don't know if I could be wrong, but I heard that they're trying to change the law here and have buses that fit more people.
right.
Um, but yeah, yeah, the bus was great. Our driver was a great guy from the UK.
Cool.
And yeah, really cool guy. He was kind of telling me a story about him. He worked for Gary Moore and people like that, and
Wow.
pretty cool stories. So
Yeah.
great guy.
Yeah.
kept us alive.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's important. Getting your people there is important.
Yeah.
And you got your guitars back.
Got one
And
guitar
people
back.
what? Oh, you didn't get both? Is
I
one
still have
still
another
there?
one here. Still, I have another one in Germany. It's in storage
Oh,
right now. I
so
got
that one was in
one of
Poland.
my old guitars home, which was nice.
Yeah.
It's been over there for like 6 years or whatever it's been now. So yeah,
Now,
I even played it for the last couple shows. So
yeah, I saw that. So, and that was just over with your tour manager guy over there?
no, that was actually with our old booking agency,
Okay,
and
okay.
we left uh, our old booking agency for a new agency,
Yeah,
and so fortunately they were nice enough to. Well, our old guitar tech actually had a
yeah,
bunch of our stuff, so he we picked them up when we were in Poland,
yeah.
and he was nice enough to bring our bunch of our guitars. So
Cool. That's nice. So it was good to get reunited with that.
yeah, it was like an old friend, kind of inspired me because I've been playing it
Yeah,
lately this week, writing new music on it. So it's kind of cool. You pick up guitar you haven't played in a long time, kind of inspires you a bit
yeah.
to write.
How do you think that one compares to the one we set up? Or actually the 2 that we just,
Uh, very different neck feel,
yeah,
yeah, it's just completely different, bit fatter neck,
yeah,
not a baseball bat neck, but
right.
fatter and just totally different feel, rosewood
Yeah,
fretboard and
yeah.
feels different than the ebony, of course.
Mhm. Yeah, not quite as
So,
hard.
yeah, yeah, I'm glad to have had her home.
Yeah, right. She's
You
back
know?
home again. Yeah,
Yeah, I still got one more over there, so which is a duplicate guitar. It's the same guitar,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll bring that
And
back
then
the
you
next
will have I guess we'll say, "Oh, here we go, Cheesy Cheech." I have to get back in habit of it. Man, setting this back up was like a whole learning process again. Welcome back, Alex. Which country was the most exciting to visit?
Well, I mean, I've been to all these countries a zillion times already, but, if you mean what was the best shows, now Poland is always really good to us, so Poland was definitely up there, but I have to say, for me, I really enjoyed Scandinavia, I have to say,
Really?
Sweden, Norway was an amazing show, and, yeah, Scandinavia, because we don't get up there too often,
Right,
playing up in Scandinavia.
right,
So yeah, it was nice to do some shows in Sweden and Norway and also Denmark. Um,
right,
and got to see some friends up there too. Don't see too much. And
right,
yeah, so that was they were they were yeah, they were really good. And UK was off the hook. UK
right,
was insane.
right.
Really some really cool venues. We played a venue called the Roundhouse in London. That's always been on my bucket list, which is a famous venue. If anybody knows the history of that venue, bands like Pink Floyd played there, The Doors, Led Zeppelin, you name it.
Right, a lot of
So
history.
that was cool. Yeah, it was really cool to play that place. Because like I said, that was like a bucket list venue for me to play. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, Scandinavia was really cool. I really enjoyed going to Scandinavia.
right.
So,
But
yeah.
and you didn't get to do a lot of sightseeing or touring while you're going because y'all were rolling. Uh,
No, no,
yeah, so you
not
didn't get to really, like, take in any
really.
of the
I
local.
really didn't I didn't really see anything aside from the venue back to the bus. I think
Yeah,
some of the other guys might have won out a few here and there, but I just
yeah.
kinda stayed on the bus.
I think you're getting old.
Yeah, I am.
You're like you didn't even bat an
Yeah,
eye on
yeah,
it. Yeah, we all are,
yeah.
man.
That's
We all
yeah, I'm just kinda like being on stage that's the highlight for me. And then the other thing is just hanging out with, you know, fellow musicians and stuff, and cool conversations you have with everybody. And,
Right.
really enjoyed talking with the Municipal Waste guys, and we would just
Yeah.
get into music and nerding out about a lot of, um, you know, bands that we love, and even like the drummer Dave would like send me stuff. Like he's a total music nerd, and he'd be like, "Oh, check
Yeah.
this out. You ever heard this?" And yeah, it was just cool
Yeah.
stuff like that, and
Right.
but
So who did you find on the tour to nerd out with about gear the most? Because I know you found somebody.
um, I don't know. Me and Adam, who's Cannibal Corpse's guitar tech, we were nerding out about some guitars and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Adam also works for Dean Guitars,
Yeah.
and but I wanted to take Rob from Cannibal Corpse's new custom shop guitars home with me. I tried,
Yeah. He wouldn't give them up.
you know, but I have to say, really, really nice. He's got these two-star guitars, which is based off the original Charvels that Eddie Van Halen designed back in the late 70s, early
Uh-huh.
80s. And so, yeah, those guitars are really nice, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like his new, I guess, new signature series guitar that's going to come out. I don't know if it's going to come out in production line or not, but it's really
Yeah.
nice. I've never seen a Dean like that either, So
Right. Right.
beautiful guitars. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, if he was a real friend, he would have let you have one.
Yeah, I know. We're not friends anymore, Rob. I'm sorry. Let me take that guitar home with me.
Real friends would just give you a guitar. I haven't found any real friends, but somebody out there would, I imagine.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
they're really sweet. Yeah. And it's funny because you know, right before the tour, I didn't know he got those guitars made, and I was kind of nerding out on the internet one day because EVH reissued those guitars, that
yeah,
body shape. I was like, oh man, I gotta get one. And then I see Rob with a Dean version of that guitar, which
yeah,
is funny. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's
eventually
cool.
I have to get one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it might be on the bucket list, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot on my bucket list.
Yeah,
You know?
right, right. So, well, and let's see. While you're away, well, and of course you mentioned Eric Rutan. He lost a lot, man. And our thoughts are with him. It that that whole area down there got devastated in North Carolina,
Yeah,
and
just
it's
horrible.
crazy.
I mean, yeah, I mean, fortunately the rest of the guys in the band didn't have really any issues
Yeah,
because all of them lived down there except for Alex. And
yeah,
unfortunately Eric, it just destroyed his house. I'm sure people have
right,
seen it on the internet and stuff like that.
right, right.
The news, and don't want to get into his personal stuff, but yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's just really it's tough. And Eric is um, he's a producer, and he has his own recording studio. So,
yeah,
there's that, and that's,
yeah,
I don't know the extent of everything, but from what I understand, it's, he lost pretty much everything. And
yeah.
yeah. So, but fortunately, his wife was safe and okay. So that's the most
Yeah, yeah.
important. But
Yeah, that's the important stuff is the people and the family and all that. All the stuff, as hard as it is, it can all be replaced. And I say that from seeing people lose a lot of shit over the years, in my career. All that
yeah,
stuff can be replaced. It's a pain in the ass because, like you said, for him, it's like a double, like, it's, like in my case, when I would see people lose their home in a fire, it's your home. But when it's something like as widespread as that was, it was their homes, it was their businesses. Double slams you. It's a pain in the ass, and a lot of people were affected by that. But on
yeah.
the cooler side of that is Jeremy, and so I'm going to sport my new shirt on the
Oh,
show
I
in
see.
a couple
Yeah,
weeks when it comes in, because I ordered my shirt. So we could talk about. I'm sure he'd be cool with us talk about it. He was on the internet. Somebody kept hacking his account and trying to sell T-shirts under his name. Which see that shows you when you're famous when people do that and try to sell it. They're not selling one with my big ass head on it. So yeah. So I mean, talking about taking lemons and making lemonade, man. He went from that. I think they tried to I saw 2 times on social media that they did it, and then finally, he did his own shirt, Jeremy Sosville Legend in His Own Mind, which I think is cool as shit. Like, I think it's badass when somebody can kind of, like, that they're that comfortable with themselves that they can do something like that, like, "A legend in my own mind." It was a cool shirt too. I bought one. So I'll wear it on the show.
Yeah,
But she said, yeah, he felt bad for him. Yeah, we all did, man. A
yeah,
lot of people. I
sure.
had some friends in Tampa too. People I used to deal with at work, a personal friend down there. The place was messed up in North Carolina,
Yeah,
man. You don't need to talk about that.
yeah,
It's a whole wreck
horrible.
out there.
And the
So,
worst is when you're on tour and something happens back at home,
well, and you're
you're
on tour in a
uh,
long ways from home.
right. Yeah.
You're on the other side, of the pond and things are happening back here. It's tough. And I know you all were over there and probably seeing it on the news going like, "What the hell?" And then another one lines up and comes in. It's
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So so the Jeremy with the shirt I thought was pretty cool and he's going to donate, if anybody wants to go on his site and buy one of the shirts, he's donating the proceeds to the hurricane relief in North Carolina, which I think is really friggin' cool. Um so we had
Mhm.
that. What else do we have? So we kind of I didn't think that many people would be watching the YouTube channel while we were on hiatus, we'll call it. But then I see that, I start getting notifications of these spikes, and on Sammy's and with Acid Bath. So Acid Bath announces that they're gonna reunite and they're going out with Metallica and a whole host of other people. And
Yeah,
all kinds
they're
of activity on our channel looking at Sammy's interview is interesting.
yeah, they're I can't remember. I think it's like a new festival in US somewhere. I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't remember where it is, but
You know
it
what?
would
And if you wouldn't have said that, I'm old, I can't remember it. I knew exactly what it was. I know Cheech will
yeah.
he'll look it up.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
there's a
it was
lot of new
kinda
festivals popping up in the States and
yeah,
because normally that's like more of a European thing,
yeah,
but which is good is
yeah,
we need that here,
yeah,
because it's predominantly in Europe, and so it's nice to see more music festivals coming back
right,
to the
right.
States. So but yeah,
Yeah,
good for Sam. That's his original
yeah,
band. So yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
Illusion.
it's cool, and you're right, that's something like we used to have, things like Lollapalooza and stuff like that, but you didn't really see the festivals that did seem to be more like a European thing, but it seems like it's something that's picking up here, right? You all
Yeah,
have some more coming
yeah.
up, right?
Yeah, we have we're just doing like a small fest in Quebec. We have coming up in a couple of weeks, and we're playing there on a Friday.
Yeah,
And then Sunday we have a one-off show up in New York. It's us, Mortician, Internal Bleeding, and Malignancy.
right.
So it's all New York bands. So it's cool.
Yeah,
I think that'll be cool. We just have that. We have other stuff for next year, which I can't talk about
yeah.
yet. But yeah, we have some really awesome stuff in the works. Yeah, coming up for next year. So
Sounds like it could be
but yeah,
getting
the
busy.
only two shows. I'm sorry.
Sounds like it could be getting busy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we gotta get a new album done.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
I mean, that
yeah,
what's that, like 2 weeks? I'm messing around.
Oh,
No. It's like, I mean, what's it take to
yeah,
write a whole album? Like 2 weeks?
yeah,
It can't.
yeah,
No,
but,
I mean, for me, it would take, like, 3 lifetimes. I can't even imagine what it's like to write a
yeah,
album
yeah,
and record it and all that.
but,
A lot
yeah,
of work.
a lot of stuff in the works and for next
Yeah,
year and go back to Europe and
right.
States and, yeah, so, yeah, that's pretty much it, but the only 2 shows I can talk about right now that are coming up, so,
Yeah.
I don't remember the dates. Maybe I can
And
find it
let's
on
see, saw you
the
were
site.
reunited with your guitar too. Yep. Yeah, you wanna hold it up? You wanna show us? I'm sure, some of us, saw you playing it, like yeah, I waited
Yeah.
for you to pick up your drink to say that. Yeah, it's a good looking guitar.
So it's a military green, Millie, Petroza signature, which I have a couple of these
Yeah.
guitars, but, this one, I did a lot of touring. I always used it and had it stored away in Europe. There's 2 of them, actually. I have another one that's still over there.
What Fishman
It's a great
said, isn't
guitar. These are moderns. This is actually the guitar that got me into Fishman. So,
oh,
long story short, ESP sent 2 guitars for me to keep over Europe, so I don't have to keep traveling back and forth with guitars. And
right,
I had heard of Fishman, but I never tried one before. And
uh-huh,
so yeah, I remember I think we were going on tour. I think we were on tour. I can't remember. Maybe we might have been going on tour with Vader or something like that.
yeah,
And I remember being at sound check and plugging it in, and I was just like, "Holy
right,
shit!" And I I had been wanting to find a pickup that has the power of an active pickup, but with
right,
the articulation of a passive pickup, and
right,
and and a pickup that's diverse too, where I can get
uh-huh,
good, dirty sounds and nice clean tones out of it. And
right,
this was what I was looking for,
yeah,
and then eventually, led to get an endorsement with Fishman, and yeah, I was just so it was actually that guitar right there. That was my I think I got this in 2017 or
uh-huh,
18, something like that. And what's
yeah,
cool about this guitar is it's actually rosewood. It's got a rosewood
mhm,
fretboard, which you don't see too much anymore. It's like a dark
right,
rosewood, and
right,
really great guitar. And yeah, I'm just glad to have it home, and been inspiring me too to write. I've been
yeah,
sitting up at night working on new riffs and new
yeah.
musical ideas in it. So
Man, after
um,
4 years of not seeing it, it's like new guitar day with an
yeah,
old
yeah. It's like a new guitar, It's
yeah.
like, but yeah,
What do
so
you
I
find
actually
you like better? Do you like the in the Fishman sets, do you like the moderns more than the Will Adlers, or do you have different applications?
it,
'Cause I
I
know
don't
you have the
really like
classics
any
too.
I don't really like anyone better than the other. I think they all serve a certain purpose, and
Right.
I mean, I guess for like playing extreme heavy stuff, I mean, the moderns are perfect.
Yeah,
The Will Adlers, I think you can do the real extreme stuff, and you can also play like rock and roll with those things, and
yeah,
get some really great clean tones out of it.
right,
Bluesy kind of stuff,
right,
and the classics I like a lot too. It's not really meant for metal, but
yeah,
the classic uh, Fishmans are amazing, and I have them
yeah,
in my Horizon.
right.
You put them in. You did.
Uh-huh.
You put those
Yep, I
pickups in,
did.
and but I'm curious about. There's a couple of pickups Fishman's come out with. I'm curious about the Mick Thompson ones,
Yeah,
and which I actually have Henny, who's my guitarist in Shadows. I have his custom shop ESP Eclipse from the '90s. I
uh-huh.
have that guitar with me, and he's got the Mick Thompsons in there. We just
Oh,
got to go
really?
fix that. So I have it in my house right now. But
Really? We're gonna have to see how those sound. I have 3 of them here in stock, and I haven't installed any of them yet, so I don't know how they sound.
Yeah, but I'm curious about them,
Yeah,
so, but yeah, I mean, Fishman's got so much stuff I haven't even tried yet, so,
yeah, yeah,
you know, but the ones I'm familiar with is the moderns, the
yeah,
Villadros and the classics, so.
yeah, and I have moderns in 2 of mine. I like the modern well, you know that, and I like those a lot,
Yeah,
but,
and
I mean, the Will Adlers are kinda cool, and I like, kinda that combination where it's a wider pickup in the back, hotter, and then the neck, like
yeah,
you said, I mean, you can have that sound like a rock and roll guitar, and it's almost
yeah,
like a classic PAF, like
totally.
49.2 millimeter, pole spacing, which I know is geeky shit, but,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
it's old PAF that would be an old Gibson or something.
yeah, totally, totally,
Yeah,
so it's cool to have that. That's the thing about the magic of Fishman pickups is this the diversity of the pickups
yeah,
and the different voicings
yeah,
and yeah, which is like I said, it was this guitar actually that led me into using Fishman pickups,
right.
because I was kind of like just I didn't want to use EMGs anymore,
Yeah,
and I was actually just leaning towards just switching to some passive pickup, like a Seymour Duncan or something,
uh-huh,
like a JB or something, and then,
yeah,
I discovered the Fishmans by accident,
mhm,
really, so,
yeah.
you know
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I like them a lot. I
Yeah.
do, and we've talked about it on the show before, the EMGs, I like the headset, they're pretty decent,
No,
you know, so
they're cool, and the 5766
yeah,
set too,
yeah,
yeah. Kind of like
yeah,
I think it's, like, similar to the Hetfield pickups,
yeah, yeah, and I think, I think the rest of 'em, I al I don't know, it sounds kinda snobby, I say they're just kinda cliche, and that's not bagging on EMG, EMG is a good company, but yeah,
Yeah,
definitely killer pickups. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. I
yeah.
like 'em. They're a good company. I like you know me, I like the product and I like the company, and I'm not in this case, it's Fishman, but I if I like the product and the company, I'm sold. And
Yeah.
I have to deal with them. I dealt with Fishman a lot this past week. They're pretty good to deal with. I mean, sometimes it just kinda is what it is when you're dealing with companies, but, I've always found them good to
Y
deal with, and that's why
you
I
know you know
go
what
ahead.
this guitar needs too is, it needs an FU tone upgrade, that's for sure, 'cause,
Does.
I like, this thing
Yeah,
sounds super good as it is, and,
yeah,
you know, I know, like, the A, B of having, like, a brass block in there and what it does, you
yeah,
know? Um,
yeah,
like, the two arrows which I brought on tour, having those FU tone blocks in there really makes
yeah.
a world of a difference, I think, too.
So, I mean, we have an audience that our gigantic audience of 4 watching right now, like, all 4 of the people watching. No, I was going a different direction with this, but just to mess around. So, we need to set a deadline for when we do your ESP. Like, we need to get that thing done. In
Oh,
front of our
yeah.
4 people, our 4 witnesses right now, we need to
Oh,
set a
my
deadline.
my white one, right?
Yes,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Let's do it next weekend.
we can, yeah. I
You
mean,
know what? While we're on air and we could be nerds here, I'm gonna show you Henny's custom shop so you can see for
yeah,
yourself. This is
yeah,
actually the first eclipses they made when they first came out with the ESP Eclipse, which the
okay.
body is a little bit different than the ones that you see now. So uh, hold on a second, I'll grab it and we can
Eggs in the
show and
house.
tell. Eggy in the house.
Alright, let's see what we have here. For everybody that's waiting, so he has a project guitar, one of his first ESPs that we're gonna do some FU tone and some gold hardware and put Fishmans in it, a hum and a single, and, we just haven't had time to do it. I've been super busy. He's been super busy, obviously. So we're trying to get that together. I figure if we threw it out here, it would make us get on it.
Yeah.
But probably not.
This guitar is stripped, but as you see, it says E there. It's a little different, and it's a bolt-on neck. It's a nice little fat neck. It's a thicker body, and it's everything's stripped on it. But cool little green Floyd on there too. And these are actually the Mick Thompsons, but they're not plugged. They're just strapped on. But
yeah,
it's a rosewood neck, and it's an amazing guitar. And these, as you see, ESP custom.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So I believe this guitar is from maybe 1995.
Really?
Something like that. But yeah, it's an amazing. This neck is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I played this guitar many times, and
what kind of bridge is that? It almost is it. It looked
Floyd.
Is it a Butone?
No, it's a Floyd. It's a Floyd Rose.
Oh, I know, but it almost. I mean, I'm looking at it through a screen. It looks alloy.
It's green.
Oh, I know that.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, when you're looking at it through a TV, or through a computer, it looks like it's alloy.
It's a German Floyd.
Yeah,
it's an original German Floyd, but it's just like a green
cool.
kind of. I don't know. It's beautiful looking.
It is.
I guess,
it looks great.
But this is an amazing guitar that needs to be fixed.
He says that guitar plays great. I bet. Man, that's a nice guitar. Hey, you know what? It almost looks like the one that's on our little graphic. Same color.
You could still find them sometimes. I've seen them on like Reverb and eBay. Somebody will be selling one of those old Eclipses, but they're really great. Totally different feel than the ones they make today, like chunkier neck and stuff like that.
What did you try to play? Oh, who tried to play it with their teeth?
What did you try to play that with your teeth?
No. Probably the strings were hanging off.
Strings were off. There's no strings on there.
Strings were hanging off. Wires were hanging out of the back.
Yeah, it's in pieces right now, so it needs to be put together. But, Peggy has played that guitar many times.
Yeah.
That is Mr. Joe Young of Necrosion.
Yeah.
Commented. Yeah.
So is it Aggie his nickname?
I'm sorry?
You said Aggie.
Oh, well, that's his nickname.
That's what yeah. That's funny. Yeah, that's a nice guitar.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's got a nice green finish on it and stuff, and it's a beautiful guitar.
Yeah, good stuff. So what are you going to do? A setup on it?
Yeah, it needs the pickups installed and
they weren't in it?
The pickups are placed in there, but they're not put together. Nothing's. It's all in pieces. Yeah, and it needs a setup and all. So.
Cool. Oh, we talked. That's the one we talked about.
Yeah, I told you about it.
Oh my God. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Now I get it. It takes me a while.
That's my guitar player, Henny.
Yeah.
His from my other band, Shadows. So.
Yeah, I wasn't putting the two together.
Yeah.
No, not the two people. I wasn't putting the two stories together.
Oh, yeah.
I just wouldn't. Yeah. When you said, "Hey, I have Henny's guitar," I wasn't putting that with what we talked about.
Yeah, no. I've had it for a while here. It's just,
that thing is nice. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
So
it'll be cool.
So we have two to do. That's two wiring jobs.
Two classic old ESPs. Mine's even older, So
but, that thing is nice too. I can't wait until everybody sees that. That thing's gonna look sick.
Yeah, it'd be cool to kind of go out and play like a Strat too again, which I haven't done in the longest time. A Strat shaped guitar.
Yeah.
So
good stuff. Yeah. What else do you have? What else is new?
Nothing. Just not sleeping. I don't know if that's not new, but
Yeah, it's gotta be hard, like, when you adjust to that, they're what, 6 well, usually, what, 6 to 8 hours ahead over there, right?
Yeah, 6 hours. It was like 6 hours difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I figured, like, depending on what country you're in it or are they're not all in the
well,
same
yeah,
time.
UK is like 4 or 5 hours, something like that, and then further you go, it'll
Right.
be like six.
So then
So,
coming back over here and getting readjusted.
yeah,
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 it's
yeah.
tough. So,
But
we've
happy
talked
people.
about, things I mean, obviously, you talked to some new friends of yours that you wanna have on the show. We wanna have them. Um,
Mhm.
we've had some people I wanna have String Joy on and talk to String Joy.
Yeah, that'd be
You know,
great.
I talked to my new sales rep, really nice guy. They're just really good people down in Nashville. And they have some signature sets that they're doing now. So that'd be cool to have them on. You know what I see? I'm actually seeing this two times recently. Like one, I think one is the guitar that's on the bench behind me, putting a set of lace pickups in it. But there's been two young guys that have come in here with custom sets of string joys. Yeah, and that's what
Oh,
string joy is kinda known for is, like, their balanced strings, good strings, and kinda being string nerds, and, they'll build you any kinda set and or sets of strings, and, I've had 2 guys, and they were both young guys, and they've kind of figured out, like, what gauges they like, and where they like them, and what tuning they like, and, it's been kinda interesting because it's been recently, they come in and they're just like some of them are handwritten. The one I did for you is, like, handwritten. So,
yeah. I
the
still have them on
gauges.
one of this my one guitar back here. They're
Yeah,
still on
so
there.
it's gonna be cool to have them on. Of course, we have to get Adam on. We have to get him on
Mhm.
here, get that scheduled up, and then, I know we've talked about this, and we've kinda been waiting for the tour and all that kinda stuff, and then now, rolling in, like we were talking before we went live tonight, with it getting darker earlier now, there's more time and less things going on. So, we definitely want to get, some of these, like we want to get Pete back on. And of course, Jeremy's always great to have on. And some of the people that are on and some local guys, depending on what locality, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be our locality. Just kind
Yeah.
of have like some, think tank kind of things, like exchange ideas.
Mhm,
Um,
and if anybody watching that is anybody like to see this, shoot us some suggestions and, we'll see if we can get them on the show,
yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know
And some of the things, I talked to uh, a young lady that she's actually performing tonight. She performs all over town, and she's doing it. That's her profession. And you and I've had this discussion offline before. I've always wondered why like, more musicians don't make a company out of themselves, if you will. Like I don't know how to put it in proper terms, but she's done it. I wouldn't mind having her on just to talk about the business aspect of local performers, becoming a sole proprietor and tax breaks and tax write-offs and kind of things like that. Because she's hustling and it's kind of interesting. I hooked up with a guy and I was trying to work on my 3 alarm website and kind of update that a little bit. And I was talking to a local guy here, and he's tied in with the local businesses in Northern Virginia, local businesses. And I went to one of their meetings and they were like, "Hey, well, we have a guitar guy here." So it kind of reminded me of work again in the government. I was like, why the hell am I sitting here? But it's kind of cool to network because I immediately got a job out of it. And it was this young lady that plays here in Fredericksburg, acoustic show, good voice, really soulful voice, and
Mhm.
she's super busy. And you know what? She was networking with all these people. She's going to like the Builders Association meetings and all these local groups and economic development groups and all that kind of stuff. And she was getting gigs out of it, and it was just really, it that's what you and I talk about a lot of these things offline, like these younger people are really figuring out how to do the hustle, man. Like
You
they're
know,
figuring out. I've never heard of a musician going like she went to nobody listening will know what this is, but it's a builders association, Fredericksburg Area Builders Association. She went to their meeting, and I'm like, that's a bunch of contractors and construction guys. She goes, "Yep," and I landed gigs out of it, and a lot of them come to my gigs. So she builds a
it's
following
interesting
with just
because I
networking.
wouldn't know. Yeah, I wouldn't not have a clue of how to go about things these days.
Yeah,
Especially like because you know, like the internet and all that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm completely clueless. I come from the days where you went out and gave out flyers to
yeah.
get somebody to come out and see your band, and
Right.
the underground trading tapes, and that's how you got your music around, was through the
Yeah.
underground and tape trading and stuff like that. Um,
Right. Right.
and nowadays it's just like, it's a whole other ball game now, and like Instagram and all these things. Like, I'm
Yeah.
completely clueless on, a lot of that stuff, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
how people go about getting their music heard,
Right.
and
Right.
so yeah, it's
And
like I
that's
like
a
to hear
really
how they
good.
do these things, you know.
I think so. I guess I brought her up as a good example of like these are good just topics. Like you can nerd out over new guitars and all that kind of stuff. And we'll talk about my new guitar day here in a couple minutes. But you can nerd out over that. But there's a business side of it too. That whether you're doing repairs or gigging locally or touring internationally, there's a business side of it. And those are all good conversations that I think are super interesting. Those and songwriting. I had a lot of guys come through the shop. They're trying to figure out like how do you get your original music out there? And we're talking to guys that are doing that. When we're doing this regularly, they're doing that all the time.
Yeah,
And they've figured out how to get into these festivals and things like that. So those are all I think cool discussions to have.
sure.
Especially and
Yeah,
it helps the local people out, and the people that are doing it professionally. I tell you what, it's interesting to see some of the hustles, and you hit it, man. I know I'm like pontificating now, but it's like the stuff that they're doing now on like Instagram and TikTok. Man, I've been trying TikTok and it's friggin' hard and it's aggravating. Like I've tried to like just like do like I do with Instagram and stuff. Just most of Instagram and Facebook. I'm just trying to show people the work, so it's a good reference and stuff like that. But my daughter tells me she's like, "Dad, you need to just quit putting guitars and just do something stupid. You'll get viewers," which isn't hard for me. Oh, but it's just hard, man. TikTok is really hard, I think, and it's hard to
yeah.
stay consistent with it.
I'm
Um,
completely clueless, so
yeah,
I know nothing about it.
yeah, there's like a whole weird science to it. It's like before you upload something, you have to clear your cache and you have to search this stuff, and it's just a lot of work. And I would look at my wife and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? This is dumb. But sometimes
Yeah,
it's kind of fun. But the Instagram, it's almost if you're in business, whether you're performing or doing what I'm doing, I mean, you have to be out there on social media. People have to be able to find you.
yeah. It's seems to be a necessary these days.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, there's some bands too that still kind of um, do things the old school way and still get noticed too. So
yeah, yeah.
you know,
So let's see what else. What else haven't we talked about? Blood Incantation.
yeah,
Holy crap, man. So
great
that
album, right?
so I'd like to say I discovered them, but I didn't. That's just me bullshitting. But no, remember we went to see you guys in Richmond and we were
Mhm.
kind of off to the side, our wives and the two of us, and we were talking and listening to them. And man, I just remember sitting there going like, wow, what is this? Because I'm kind of punky, kind of proggy, kind of a a musical whore, so I listen to a little bit of everything, but really gravitate towards that stuff. And man, that new the new stuff they have out is phenomenal.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah,
I at one point, I listen to a lot of music while I'm wrenching on guitars or at the gym or whatever, working in the yard. I listening to that stuff, and man, there's parts of that. It's it reminds me of what some Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Sometimes, at one point, I thought I was listening to some old Pink Floyd.
yeah, yeah,
Man,
yeah,
it's just so good. They've won me
yeah.
over.
Yeah, I mean, while the last we've toured with Blood Incantation 3 times, I believe, and,
Yeah,
so the last tour that you're speaking of that you when you came out and saw them, I think
yeah,
we were on tour with Piotrowski and
yeah,
Blood Incantation, and, so, those guys gave me, like, the pre-production demos
yeah,
that, for the album, and
right,
I was hooked right away. I was like, "Wow, this
yeah,
is," it's like there's parts of it that reminded me of, like, Pink Floyd Animals or something,
yeah,
and obviously it's like Pink Floyd meets Morbid Angel or something like
yeah.
that, and yeah, it's really, really, really fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and I
I
only
kinda
discovered them for
the
me, I
album
didn't
there.
discover them. I didn't
What's that?
discover them, I discovered them for me in Richmond that night.
Right, right, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and,
they,
yeah, really, really great. Yeah, yeah, great.
yeah, not
It's,
catch yeah, so I was, Terrence Hobbs was Suffocation,
Terrence? Okay.
George
Terrence is
Fisher.
an old friend. Yeah, yeah. We'll see if we can make that happen.
Would
George,
George Fisher come in?
I don't know what George is gonna talk about, but, I don't know about how much guitar stuff George can talk about,
Well
you know?
well, we've already said we're not gonna limit ourselves to
I was talking about
one.
video games or something, maybe George would be into that.
I'm there. I'm there. Yeah, Killer Band,
Terrence,
they're
yeah,
really good.
Terrence would be great. We'll see if, we can get Terrence on the show,
Yeah. Well, and
you
not
know?
only so I immediately bought the shirt too. The shirt was too damn cool with the, the pyramids on it. Good grief. Nice stuff, man. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think of some other cool music, like, new stuff, um, this year. I really have to pay attention to some newer releases. The Blood
Yeah.
Incantation, obviously. I like, the, new wave British heavy metal band Satan, their new record a lot.
Yeah.
And, trying to think of something else. Well, I'm trying to think of what else has come out this year.
Yeah.
It's gotta be something I'm missing, you know? I'm
Yeah.
still stuck back in the 1970s still, I think. I
Yeah.
gotta
I listened
get
to a
some new
lot of
music.
I listened to a lot of that older stuff too, but I like the newer stuff. I like there's new stuff with Lizzie Hale with I Prevail. That's pretty cool. To see those two getting together. Not necessarily death metal, but I listen to all kinds of shit. Hell,
Yeah.
I told you I listen to 60s musical on Saturday nights just because that's what our family always did. So kind of like a nostalgic thing. So you can't
Yeah,
go wrong with some old 60s Motown on Saturday night. So
yeah.
kind of like being at the beach. So what else we have?
But yeah,
Oh,
Terrence, I'll see if we're back getting Terrence on the show. I think Terrence is kind of a nerd too. I know he's with gear and stuff like that. So
yeah.
he'd be
Yeah.
good to have.
And I think, it's kind of funny because I think we kind of started out like we just wanted to talk about guitar stuff, and then we had drummers on and bass players. And I think it's kind of morphed into, just cool, just talking about cool stuff. And I mean, yeah, it could be the business end or gear stuff. And I know sometimes when I told you I knew one person and he's a death metal guy, and when we start talking about the nerdy stuff, he tunes out, then he tunes back in. So I think it's
Mhm.
cool to talk about all of it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And well, I mean, eventually we need to do we'd like to do some repair stuff on here too. I don't know how interested everybody is in it. There's so much repair shit out on the internet now. You can go anywhere and seeing some guy adjusting a truss
Well, one
rod.
thing we could do is my old white ESP. You know,
Oh, that's an idea.
you know,
We
we'll
could
do
do
that.
that.
You
Oh,
know,
we can definitely record that. And I think I'm set up in here now to where we could do it, and that would be, pretty easy. And some of it is, um, just being set up to do like neither one of us, we still kind of don't know what we're doing. We're winging it, but getting set up to be able to record doing a repair. For one thing, it takes about 5 times longer to do everything, whether it's TikTok or for YouTube. Um,
yeah,
but being able to get the lighting properly done and a camera over there and all that kind of stuff. But I think we're there
mhm,
now. We're getting there slowly.
yeah.
I
Does
think we're
anybody
getting
have any questions? Well, I don't know if there's
Any
any people.
questions? Raise your hand.
Yeah, raise your hand.
They need a little hand. You know, which I mean, I think I was going to tell you and I forgot to. So StreamYard, which is what we use to stream these, they kind of changed everything. You notice our names are rounded, but yeah, they upgraded a lot of stuff. So that's why I keep looking off to the side to see that some of the things have changed. That they don't look the way they did last time. So yeah, well, and I mean, we could talk about my my mistake in selling a guitar, and then having to rebuy something. So I should, I guess by Wednesday, well, it's not a new guitar, it's a 2020, but it's a 1964 custom shop white. Um, and I got that when I'm
Beautiful
selling,
guitar.
yeah, selling some guitars to get this, so I don't get divorced or beaten. Um, but as you know, I had a green one in
Yeah,
1964 that
that was a beauty. Yeah,
I sold for some reason. Oh, I remember. I sold because remember I wanted to build a black Strat, and I had difficulty because I wind pickups. So I was winding single coil pickups, and I didn't want to test them out in a custom shop because I didn't want to go in to a nice custom shop guitar and do a bunch of soldering and stuff with it. So I got rid of that and I sold it to a guy and he bedazzled it. Remember? He
yeah,
did.
yeah. That
Yeah.
guitar, that was a beauty. That
It
green one.
was a nice guitar, and he's a great guy. He's a great player too up in the DC area. But he made some changes to it, which the reason I laugh is because I didn't want to make a change to it. That's why I sold it. And then he brought it in a couple weeks later and it was completely changed. And I was like, huh, maybe I should have just put new pickups in it.
Yeah.
But and then he sold it and he broke the guitar rule because he didn't call me and tell me he sold it. So he did break that
Oh,
rule because I would have bought it back. But
yeah,
the
yeah.
white one is gonna be very nice. White one, clay dots. It's gonna be really nice. What do I charge for a guitar setup? So I do, I do
I'll be
for
right,
what I what's that?
I'll be right back. 1 second.
Oh, okay, I got you. I'll run my mouth. In this area, in the Fredericksburg area, which is where we are, I do 85 plus strings for setup, which is, pretty much a fair price. Other people are charging more. I think the big boxes, um, this is the struggle, and maybe in the comments you can kind of help me with this. So the struggle that I've always had since I've been doing this is I think you should always do or ensure that the frets are level when you do a setup. And if they're not level, you should level them, even if it's a spot level. So what I notice is a lot of shops, including in the area, out of the area, what have you, they will have two separate structures. They'll have one pricing for a setup, which I would just call an adjustment, and then they have a pricing structure for a setup with a fret level. The dilemma I've always had, and when I first started out, I started like that. And I hope this is answering your question. This is a long version of the answer. So, but it also helps me with the business and doing setups to hear feedback from you guys. So when people bring a guitar to me, they always say, "Hey, I want the," what there are a percentage that don't say this, but most say I want the action as low as you can get it. Well, I mean, there's sometimes where you can have a fret that's even marginally high that will affect it if you try to get it too low, because everybody wants it as low as you can get it. So I don't know how you get it there without doing a fret level. And if you offer to in a business, if you offer to pricing structure, so it's $60 for a setup if you don't do a fret level, but it's 120, 140, 170. It's all over the place for a fret level. People will always go the cheaper route, I've found. And then they're going to complain. They're going to be unhappy. And I'm so OCD. If they're unhappy, I'm unhappy because I want to do a good job. I want them to be happy with their instrument. So that's been the dilemma I've had. Let's see.
That's called having integrity in what you do, and that's what Roger has. When he does work for somebody, he wants to make sure it's the best it can be. So
yeah. Well, and I think I think some of it is so it's kind of different for me. So and I know we have Kenny's a firefighter, so he kind of gets it. Like, when you're in the fire department, I was in the fire department for a long time. If you do a good job and you do your best job, like somebody usually has a burned down house, especially if you're investigating the fire. You could do the best job you can do, and somebody still had a bad day. Guitars are different. Like when somebody comes and they see that you did a good job and their guitar plays great and all that, there's a whole different experience. And it's somewhat satisfying or gratifying to do that, know that you did a good job and made something sound good. Like you see it, you can work on a guitar, you're kind of the behind the scene guy, and the person, like in your case, it's you're up on stage playing. And if you're behind the scenes, you kind of help the guitar sound like that and help help you play more comfortably and things like that. So it's kind of cool. But I think that that I think people will always, well, within reason, people will always choose the cheaper route. And that's what I've struggled with. I think you should always do a fret level or make sure the level. If you've leveled it before, of course, the next setup, you don't have to level it. But let's see. That was just a long answer for 85 plus strings. That's what I charge. And I'm probably going to go up because I'm at this point, everything's getting more expensive. Everything that we use, all the tools, all the supplies is just more expensive now, and it's to get more expensive to do it. So to be competitive, I'm probably going to go up, but if I do, it's probably going to be to $100. I know a lot of shops get into, they charge more if it's a truss rod adjustment on the heel. They charge more if it's a Floyd. Man, sometimes, like if you have a staff or if you're in a store, maybe that's easier or that's easy to do. For me, it's a pain in the ass to do the billing side of it. So sometimes I just do a flat thing. But that's kind of my thing. Let's see. Whoa, did I make
what is the most expensive guitar
that either of you own? You go first.
Well, that's a tricky question because.
Wait a minute. Are our wives watching? That's an unfair question.
Yeah. Some guitars may be more rare where it makes them more expensive now, maybe if that I own, that may have not cost as much compared to some other guitars, but they may be worth more now because they're more rare. The one behind me is actually it's definitely worth let's see, up to 5 digits, so
Wow.
but yeah, I don't know. Roger's definitely got some expensive ones, that's for sure.
And I can tell you this. So I'm going to preface it with like I didn't do shit correctly at the beginning because I didn't know better. Um, I, I bought into that whole, well, if you, not with the Sir, I'll explain the Sir later, but I bought into, well, if you pay this much for this guitar, then you can play better if you pay this much. And that's just not the way it is. Like
Yeah.
I like playing that Rhodes that I paid $450 for with the Fishmans in it. And I think a good setup and fret level completely makes the difference in a guitar, and not necessarily the expense. Now I have a PRS core. That was, I mean, unfortunately I'm a PRS guy, you know that, and I'm a Marylander,
Mhm.
so I like PRS, I like the brand, I like the company. But $5,000 for a guitar, that they've just kind of priced me out of the game. But I think the most expensive that I have is probably my 2005 R0 Les Paul. Um, and I didn't pay this, but the person that bought it, I think he paid like 5 grand for it. The most expensive I bought, and I did that because the first year I was in business, I couldn't figure out, like the business owns it, I don't own it. Was a Sir. It was a $4,000 Sir. The most expensive I've worked on is was it Rick Nielsen's from Cheap Trick?
Oh, yeah,
12,000.
that's right. Yeah.
12,000. And
Yeah.
he doesn't own it anymore. Somebody else owns it. So those, but I said I'd qualify it. So I bought expensive guitars in the past. Since I've been in business, I don't buy expensive guitars because I don't think they have to be expensive to play well. I think they need
Yeah.
to be set up well, and they have to have a good foundation. There's guys that bring very affordable guitars in here, and after we get them dialed in, they play very well and stay in tune very well. I'm gonna work through
Yeah, I
some of
mean,
the comments.
more expensive doesn't mean that it's better either.
No.
We've both played guitars that are custom shop guitars that could go, 6, $7,000.
Yeah.
But I played guitars that are $1,000 or $1,500 that is a better instrument than the
Yeah.
$7,000 guitar. So
Yeah.
it doesn't always mean the more expensive mean better, because you get guitars that, sometimes like you get a custom shop guitar from different brands that got flaws, and then you got that guitar that's a mass produced instrument that's just better,
Well,
that's
so true
better.
story, and I'm sure you know this story. So, I have a client that comes in here that, is he has been blind since birth, I believe, and, we were talking one day, and I had just bought just to test it out, a sawtooth guitar. What were they, like, $200 or something like that? It may have been under $200. Les Paul style guitar, and he and I were talking, and I was like, "Hey, let's try this. Let's see what you think." And he played my R0, Les Paul Gibson, and he played the Sawtooth, and I said, "Which one do you like better?" And I didn't tell him which one was which, and he could have told, like, he could tell what things are by feeling them. He was really good at that, and he's a great player too. Um, and he chose the Sawtooth, before he knew he thought that was the Gibson. So, I mean, that just goes to show you, like, I mean, you get them set up right. Not saying I'm doing everything perfectly, but a
Yeah.
good setup. And some of it is like my Sir, that guitar plays very well, but probably no better than any other one. And a lot of it is the wood, like that. You've seen that guitar. That guitar is beautiful.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's what it is.
It
I
feels
mean,
good.
it's an
Great
exotic
tech.
wood. It has great parts on it. It plays well, but it doesn't play better than my $450 Rhodes, or that Jackson that I have. It doesn't play better than those. You know what? There's one thing, that I wouldn't, if I can keep running my mouth here for a second. Hold on a second. I don't know if this is something that everybody thinks about. I'm sure they do, but we're talking about how expensive of a guitar and all that. If you have a lot of expensive guitars, make sure you get an insurance policy on them, because your homeowners, if something happens, God forbid, your homeowners
Yeah.
probably isn't going to cover it, because they're kind of lumped in. Like if you have a fire in your house or whatever and lose everything, they're kind of lumped in with like cash and jewelry and guns and things like that. And there's a max. So there are companies that specialize. I mean, just like there's companies that specialize in, antique vehicles and motorcycles and stuff like that. There are companies that specialize in guitar collections. So make sure you get, because I've seen people lose guitars in fires. Make sure you get and it's not expensive. Get them insured, because your homeowners are going to cover it, and you're going to be pissed when you lose everything. Let's see. John said, "That's all my preaching. I'm done." He's gonna plead that. No, I mean, that's Roger's public service announcement. But a lot of people don't think of that. I mean, I've seen people lose that stuff, and they're like, "Oh, my insurance will cover it," and they just don't. And for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else do we have? Or are we gonna call it a night? Anybody else have anything? Both of you? There's two people. Both. It's cool because we have people that just hang out from the beginning to the end. We're back up to 5. All right. Anybody have
Yeah.
anything before we do a last call? I think we pretty much talked about everything. We're gonna do some cool stuff. We're gonna grow it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and click the little button. So that way we can keep trying to deliver more new stuff. We want to do some really cool stuff on this channel. So it'll help us
Yeah.
being able, like, eventually we'd like to like do some reviews and things like that. We can definitely do some videos on things that we're doing, projects that we're doing.
Yeah. What about Ola Englund, the owner of Solar? Sure. Yeah, I'd love to have Ola on. Yeah.
I wonder if he
Actually,
would. Probably not.
Ola, actually, a little trivia about Ola. He reamped the guitars on the Immolation Kingdom of Conspiracy album. So there you go.
Really?
So yeah, Ola did. He did the guitars on that.
I love watching his channel.
Yeah.
He has some good stuff. I like his guitars.
You know what? I don't think I've ever played one of his guitars.
I've seen one. I like it.
So,
I've
what's that?
seen them. I've seen one, but I've seen. I like what I see with him. I like what I saw here.
I mean, I have some friends that are use his guitars, endorsed with his company. But
Right.
checked one out. But yeah, they look cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're good guitars.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be great to have Ola on. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and if anybody in the comments, I mean, if you want to jump on here and chat with us, let us know. Just send us a message. The more the merrier. Yeah. That way I won't have to talk as much, right? You said you didn't feel, you told us before we went live, you were like, "Man, I don't feel good. You're gonna have to talk tonight." And then I ran my
I'm really sure. I managed to escape the sickness throughout the tour until I came home, and then I got sick. So, but at least I didn't get sick on tour. So,
yeah, that's
it's
good.
been a rough week watching a 3-year-old and being sick.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I mean, you said I was gonna have to talk a lot. Challenge, like anybody that knows me is like, that's an easy challenge. I can talk to a friggin' empty chair most of the time. Actually, I just talked to that empty chair all day while I'm working on guitars. So, all right. Well, if nobody has anything else, I say we call it, and I think we're gonna shoot to do it. We're gonna try to get weekly, right?
And we'll have another episode soon. And we got some stuff in the works. So hopefully you guys see us next week.
All right. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Have a good evening.